Good morning, everybody. Today we're going to talk about page 15 of the packet, combining like terms, simplifying expressions. We'll also do page 16, which is simplifying expressions, the distributive property. So page 15, which is combining like terms, you're given a copy of the notes. There's a picture on page 15 called combining like terms. What do you notice about these notes that are already filled out? Take a minute to look over the picture. Take a minute to think about what more are you wondering. So go ahead and press pause, and then we will copy down what you think. We'll come back and talk about it. Okay, I'm back. So I noticed after looking over that picture, I noticed that the terms that are circled or grouped together look the same variable, same exponent. And then I also noticed that the constant is always last. On the first one, it said -7. On the second one, it said +41. On the third one, it said +21. So I noticed it was always last. And then I just reiterated all of the constants are grouped together, all of the variables are grouped together, and all of the squared terms are grouped together. Now, what I'm still wondering is, should we always put the constant last? And do we always put the squared term first? That's what I'm wondering. All right, let's take a look at example 1. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to group all of the constants together, all of the x terms together, and all of the squared terms together. I like to always put the squared term first and always put the constant last. I like there to be some kind of order. Even though this page of notes on this picture said order doesn't matter, I like to put order so it's easier for me to check my work when there's an order. So that's what I'm going to just go with the flow. So I see that this is a -4x squared and a +2x squared. And when I add a -4 and a 2, I get -2x squared. So that's the answer to your first like set of terms. Now looking at my x terms, there's a lot of them. I see this x, I see that x. Guys, notice I'm circling the sign with the term. So this is a -2, a -4, and a -15. So now I know when I add those three together, I get a -21x. And then my constant, I need to do +3 + 5 + 11. And that's going to make 19. So my answer is -2x squared minus 21x plus 19. Let's do example 2. This example 2 has some constants, some y terms, and gy terms. All you got to do is put the like terms together. So the first thing that I see is a y. So that's really 1y. They just don't have the 1 in front of the y. So that's really 1 + 8 is 9y. 9y minus 3y is 6y. So the answer to the y is 6y. Now let's do the constants. -9 minus 2 is -11. Minus 4 is -15. Remember, I like to put the constant last. And now let's do our gy. 2gy minus 3gy is -1gy. Again, you could write the 1. You don't have to write the 1. So I could technically erase it like I did. Final answer. True or false? 5rx and 9rh are like terms. What do y'all think? 5rx and 9 RH are like terms. That is correct. That is false. In order to be like terms, they have to be identical. So the R and the X have to be identical, and the R and the H is not identical. So these are not like terms. They're not similar either. They're not like. Okay, moving on. Simplifying expressions. This is page 16 in your packet. This is the distributive property. The distributive property uses parentheses. Okay, that is the definition of distributive property. You have something on the outside, right here, and then you have something on the inside, and we're going to multiply what's on the outside to everything on the inside. Okay, so in words, our first problem says 4 times the sum of a number and 3. Multiply the outside number, which is 4, to both terms inside the parentheses. Use arrows to show multiplication. So we're going to do that. 4 times x is 4x. 4 times 3 is 12. You have just simplified by distributing. Moving on to our second question. We have a negative on the outside and a 2x minus 5 on the inside. So that means negative 1 times the difference between 2 times a number and 5. Okay, so what do we have to do? We have to multiply the outside number, which we can make it look like a negative 1, to both terms inside the parentheses. So let's do it. Use arrows. So negative 1 times 2x is negative 2x. And negative 1 times negative 5, that turns to a positive. And you have just used the distributive property. So now that we know how to combine like terms, we know how to use the distributive property, we're ready to solve an equation that may have one or both of those properties. So here's our instructions for solving equations again. Now our first step will be check to see if there's any parentheses so that we need to distribute. Check to see if there's any terms that need to be combined. That's your first step now. The next thing you're going to do is, what do you see? Do you see a constant that says plus 5? You're going to do the opposite, minus 5. Do you see a coefficient multiplied to the variable? Then you're going to do the opposite. You'll divide. Okay, so this one is not an equation. Remember, this one is an expression because expressions have equal signs. So let's go ahead and take a look at how to simplify this. First thing we're going to do is distribute. So half times 4, half of 4 is 2. And half times negative 6, or I could say it as, what's half of 6? 3, and then it's negative. So then we have used the distributive property. 2x is not a like term with a 3. Remember, this is a variable and this is a constant. So we can't combine those. So there is no step 2 and there is no step 3. You're done. Let's take a look at solving this equation. Okay, now this is an equation because it has an equals. So step 1 will be distribute, because I see a set of parentheses. Negative 5 times 3 is negative 15. And negative 5, now this is tricky. You have to say negative 5 times negative 2. And that's a positive 10x equals 60. Again, check for like terms. That is a constant. That is a variable. Those are not like. So the next thing I'm going to do is, what do I see? I see negative 15. So what will I do? I will do a positive 15 to both sides. So we're adding the constant to both sides. So 10x equals 75. And last of all, what do I see? I see a multiply by 10. What will I do? I will divide by 10. So my answer is 7.5. Please check your work on Desmos. Use 7.5 in place of the x, and just make sure that this side does in fact equal to 60 on that side. Okay, last example is, do you see a distributive property? No, we don't. Do we see combined like terms? Yes, we do. I noticed that this is a variable, this is a variable, and this is a constant. I need to combine the like terms. In this case, this and this are like terms. 5x minus 2x makes 3x. Okay, what do I see? I see a plus 3. What do? I'm going to subtract 3. Now what do I see? I see 3 times x. So what do? I do the opposite. I divide by 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5. My final answer is x equals 5. So in this lesson, we talked about how to combine like terms. They have to be the same variable. They have to be the same constant or a constant. We talked about the distributive property. Outside term multiplies to the inside term. And then we solved equations that had multi-steps. In this case, it had 3 steps. Thanks for tuning in.